Welcome back to Direct Response Playbook. I'm Travis Ketchum, founder of Campaign Refinery, joined with David Cartolano, the man behind the newsletter legend, right?
Hey, appreciate that, man. What's up, Travis? Happy to be here.
Yeah, good stuff. So today we're going to touch on a topic that is as complex as people want it to be, but we're going to keep it simple. We're talking about spam filters, how to avoid them, kind of lightly how they work, and some best practices on how to really work well around them. How's that sound?
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And we wanted to preface this by saying, even though we're marketers and we send a lot of emails to a lot of people and help a lot of emails send a lot of emails to a lot of people, spam filters are a good thing. We need them. Can you imagine what it would be like if there were no spam filters at all? Period. Like, it would just be garbage in the streets. It would be nuts. The amount of spam that is sent. What's the stat? Is it somewhere between like 70-80% of emails are spam
Yeah,
emails,
or even
something
or
like
even
that?
higher. Yeah, I forget the exact number, but I think that the takeaway is that the overwhelming majority of emails sent
Mhm.
in the world are unsolicited, unwanted spam, garbage, hot trash. Like you don't want them. They're scams. They're just trying to get you to buy something. Adult sites you aren't interested in, like whatever, right? Just topics you aren't interested in, things you didn't ask for that get sent, and that is why spam filters exist, so that we can all keep our sanity and get some actual freaking work done in our
Right.
inbox. So I wholeheartedly agree. As someone who sends, I said at this point, billions of emails, or been responsible for billions of emails being sent at least, spam filters are wonderful because they are a great separator of those who are doing things right and actually providing value to their subscribers compared to the vast majority of people who just want to, steal your Facebook login or your bank account info or,
Hmm.
send you some garbage you didn't ever ask to hear about. So
Right.
definitely a good thing. Now
Right. Right.
let's also talk about, if you're trying to get out of spam because you've ended up there, let's maybe just run through some best practices on sort of like, the greatest hits of the things that influence going into spam and then things you can do to correct that. We'll do our best to not turn it into a full deliverability course because this would bore people and it would take too long. That is actually sectioned out in real course material. But for now, Dave, why don't you kind of like, I know you've got a lot of people out of spam. I've got a lot of people out of spam, but what are the first things you look at when someone's like, hey, I got my email's going to spam. What's up?
Yeah. The first thing I look at is the expectations they set with their subscribers. How many did they tell the subscribers what they're going to be learning on the email list, or what type of deals are they going to be getting on the email list? Are they being consistent with their emails, or did they just decide to start blasting emails halfway through December when they haven't emailed the list since August? That's going to cause problems. So setting expectations with the subscribers and actually keeping them, that's number one. That is so tantamount. Number two, spam traps and cleaning your list. And all that means is there are tiny little nefarious robots in there that are trying to catch and see if you are sending to people that have actual email accounts, or if you bought a giant list off of a data broker and are just hitting every single contact with emails. If
And
you
you're
do
looking like that
that,
70, if you're looking like the
yeah,
70 or 80% in the world that are just spamming. So
exactly. And that's how they catch them. So you have to clean your list through an email service provider with a cleaning feature built in, such as Campaign Refinery, or you can use a third party like Neverbounce, Zero Bounce, etc. So those are like two really big things. And the third thing is just making sure your tech is set up right. So if you look at Campaign Refinery's blog, we talk about, DKIM, SPF, DMARC, and that alphabet soup of DNS record stuff that is really just a fancy name tag that tells Google I am who I say I am. So I take a look at those three things, and just doing that and then getting more engagement like replies, that's like top overview of how I've gotten people out of spam in the past and how I keep myself out of spam today.
yeah, I think that's definitely, tactically a great place to start. I usually do a lot of time on the assessment stage. I know you do that as well. You probably shouldn't cover it, but the habits you talked about absolutely contribute to your placement and where your email lands. But those are usually influencing the bigger thing that tells the obvious story, which is your reputation. So, right.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, of course, we check the authentication and the crossing the T's and dotting the I's, but you can also go into something like Google Postmaster Tools, which we have information about as well. And because Google is the 800-pound gorilla, most lists are 50 to 80% Google addresses, whether it's Gmail, Google Workspace, or some form of Google server receiving your email. We're like 85 to 88% of all email we send goes to Google recipients, just as sort of a benchmark number. And so how you are seen, your credit score with Google, so to speak, has a lot to do with the interest rate you are charged of your placement. And so understanding where you're starting and where you're trying to go makes that measuring stick a little bit clearer to people who may not be as immersed in the email world, right? Then after you understand that, then you start going down are we setting expectations? Are we mailing regularly? Are we segmenting properly? Are we doing all these other components? But understanding where you sit and how much work it needs to be done, because if you're all the way down to bad, you've got quite a few rungs to hop, right? Whereas if you are medium or low, the task is a little less daunting. But just understanding that difference is a key element to it. And again, spam filters are good because they are keeping people with bad practices, bad authentication, bad messaging, bad frequency, bad expectation setting out of the inbox, so that when you do these things right, you get rewarded with actual inbox placement.
Right. And better inbox placement means having your emails in front of your subscribers' eyes whenever they open their phone, giving you a greater chance to be open, clicked, and acted on. So as far as bypassing spam filters, so we talked about like the principles behind getting out of spam. So Travis, when it comes to bypassing spam filters, there are multiple different types of them. And while we're not going to get into them, I'd love for you to just give like a 30,000 foot view about what I think I asked the question without asking the question with words. Give us a 30,000 foot view on different email spam filters.
Sure. So the important thing to realize is that while the vast majority of email goes through Google and they are sort of the arbiter of the majority of your email, there are a ton of different mailbox providers, right? There's Yahoo, AOL, Verizon, and now Cox that are all kind of under one umbrella. Then you've got, Comcast and Juno and NetZero, and the list is long, with long tail, and there are many, 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 many providers, mailbox providers, that can fill in that last 5, 10, 30, 40% of your email list, depending on your mix. And each one of those providers can have their own way of formulating what they deem to be spam or not. Now, I don't need to go through every type and list. If you want to learn about those, because you're a nerd like me, you can go read the blog post below, and we actually break down the different ways and sort of formulas and approaches that these different mailbox providers use to come up with their assessment of what should go into spam and what shouldn't go into spam. But the point is that they're usually all driven off of a mix of content, behavior, and reputation for the most part. So if you can provide content that's compelling and relevant to what they ask for, behavior with, are people opening, clicking, replying, marking as important, forwarding to a friend, reading it more than once, electing to read you before reading other email in their inbox, those kind of things, some of which you can measure, some of which you can't. Those two things done correctly will then influence the reputation, which starts the virtuous cycle all over again and gives you an opportunity to then send good content, get good behavior, boost your reputation more, and rinse and repeat over and over. And so this is essentially true at a high level for every mailbox provider, even if from a technical perspective, the way they implement their solution or the way they weight how negative a spammy keyword is versus maybe ignore that if you have a high reputation, there may be variance there from mailbox provider to mailbox provider, but the general principle is send good content that people care about, that they engage with, segment properly, and let that positive cycle sort of feed upon itself. Does that sound like a fair assessment?
Absolutely. Yeah, please do not go, even though it's a great article, but do not go to that article and create a spreadsheet of all the different spam filters and have an individualized plan. Don't do that. Follow the rules, right? Just imagine, I think I made this analogy once where it's you don't need to know what the angry nun at the front of the Catholic school classroom is going, what specifically is going to get her angry, but you have a good idea. So sit up straight, do your work, smile, raise your hand every so often, and you're probably not going to get hit with the ruler. So that's really it. No matter what nun's in front of the classroom, just follow the principles, right? It doesn't matter. Just follow the principles, be a good person, right? Be a good human being, and follow the best practices that have been outlined that we just talked about.
Yeah, because chances are in your gut, you know it when you see it. You know when you're out of alignment. You know when you haven't sent often enough. And if you're trying to waffle between, I don't want to annoy my customers by emailing them too much, I can tell you'll annoy them more if they forget who you are and you wait too long and then email them, because they will have forgotten the context. So if you're waffling on that one decision, which is usually a sign of inexperience, which is okay, we've all been there. It's an okay place to be. The important piece is that you learn, iterate, and improve. And if you're going to lean one way, lean towards sending a little bit more often than maybe you're comfortable with, and watch the magic happen when you're consistent over time.
Absolutely. And a bit of a mindset shift. People are getting dozens, if not hundreds of emails a day, and your business is not that important to them. Our businesses, of course, are important to us. We love them. We spend all the time with them, but my God, we are a small grain of sand in other people's lives, and we need to act with humility around that. So yeah, send an email every day of the week. If that's too much for someone, no problem. Unsubscribe link. You put it right to the top. And if they reply and complain about it, great. That's a reply. That'll get you out of spam. Remove them from the list, smile, and move on.
Yeah. So my hope is that the takeaway that you have after listening to this video isn't necessarily that getting out of the spam filter is something to be hacked or shortcutted or figured out. It's something that needs to be complied with. And it's more about implementing best practices, sticking with them over long periods of time, and making sure that you're getting that alignment of high quality, relevant content, high engagement, which is a strong signal of relevancy for your content, right? Which you usually get through segmentation and experimentation on your type of content, and then tracking and measuring your reputation. And when you see the reputation go up as a result of the first two things, you will in due time get out of the spam filter and get most of your email to the inbox, which is the main takeaway I want you to have from this video. Anyway, so with that, if you want the best shot at that, because you want a platform that can help you segment well, you want a platform that actually cleans it for you, those are some of the strengths that we have at Campaign Refinery. So if that sounds like it might be up your alley, hit the link below. If you want to see a list and breakdown of all different kinds of spam filters and technologies and algorithms and approaches, read the nice long article we've included down below. Our content team did an amazing job there. And if you're looking to get your a newsletter that actually scales, acquire more newsletters that are high quality, and make probably a great assessment on our newsletter is valuable because of these other things, because they're getting out of spam, because they're doing the core metrics right, David's your guy. You want to tell them where to go, David?
Yeah, you can go to wealthyinbox.news and get the newsletter about selling your newsletter.
Very meta. I love it. Well, If you liked what you heard today, hit the like button. If you want to learn more about email marketing and digital marketing in general, hit subscribe. Until next time, talk to you soon.